The Chicago Bulls had just become the third team in NBA history to three-peat and were gearing up for a historic fourth straight championship in the 93-94 season, something that hasn't been accomplished since Bill Russell's Celtics. And the Bulls were once again entering the season as the favorites to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy. But then, to everyone's surprise, just a few days before training camp opened, Michael Jordan shocked the world and retired from the game of basketball at age 30 after 9 seasons in the league. This gave Scottie Pippen an amazing opportunity to step out of the shadows of Jordan and prove that they can win with him as the number one option and solidify his place as one of the best players in the NBA. In this video, we're going to be talking about Pippen's incredibly underrated and what I believe is his best individual season as the number one option of the Bulls that has largely been forgotten considering that they failed to get past the second round of the playoffs. So before we get into it, if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Would be a big help, guys. Heading into this season, Pippen was not considered someone who can be the number one option on a winning team, despite being a 3-time champion, an Olympic gold medalist on a famed Dream Team, and probably the best defender in the NBA. But with Jordan retired, Pippen went on to show he was more than just a sidekick. The team actually had a rough start to the season, as Pippen missed 10 out of his first 12 games of the season with an ankle injury. The Bulls went 5-7 in that stretch. But once Pippen got healthy and returned in late November, the Bulls went 30-5 heading into the All-Star break. In addition to Pippen, Horace Grant and B.J. Armstrong were stepping up big time this season with Jordan gone, and ended up both earning All-Star selections, joining Pippen on the All-Star team. Pippen dominated the game against the NBA's best players and earned the All-Star Game MVP by finishing with 29 points, 11 boards, 2 assists, and 4 steals. The Bulls ended up finishing the season with 55 wins and a 3rd seed, which most did not expect. Pippen was a big reason for this. Even though Pippen was never considered a scorer, he ended up averaging a career-best 22 points per game on an efficient 49% from the field, 8.7 rebounds per game, which led all perimeter players in the league, and was top 20 in assists with 5.7 assists per game to go along with 31 double-doubles. He also finished 3rd in plus-minus and 4th in PER behind David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal, and Hakeem Olajuwon. And he absolutely crushed his opponents on the defensive end. He averaged 2.9 steals and a block per game and was 7th in the NBA in defensive rating and defensive win shares. As a crazy skilled, high IQ and athletic 6'7" forward with an incredible 7'3" wingspan, Pippen really was one of the best point forwards of all time and a defensive nightmare. He really displayed that this season. Pippen ended up netting a first-team All-NBA selection and made the All-Defensive First Team. He also finished 3rd in MVP voting that year behind Hakeem Olajuwon and David Robinson. Pippen solidified his status as at least being a top 5 player in the NBA and arguably a top 3 player that season. The Chicago Bulls quickly swept the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round and then faced a tough New York Knicks team for the 4th year in a row. This ended up being a tough and incredibly fun 7-game series, of which 4 games were decided by 5 points or less. The Knicks started off strong and won the first 2 games of the series at home. Game 3 was a controversial game for Pippen, which unfortunately ended up staining an otherwise amazing season. We all know what happened, as this was fantastically covered in The Last Dance. Pippen refused to enter the game in the final 1.8 seconds of the tied ball game because Phil Jackson drew up a play for Tony Kukoc, with Pippen inbounding the ball. His ego got in the way as he felt he was the best player and he should have gotten the ball in crunch time. Maybe he was extra upset that it was Kukoc, as Pippen was underpaid at the time and he felt slighted and underappreciated because the Bulls didn't want to renegotiate his deal due to Jerry Krause trying to lure Kukoc from Europe. To his credit, Kukoc ended up making the buzzer beater, and the Bulls would do their best to put all this mess behind them after Pippen's tearful apology and won Game 4. Game 5 was a nail-biter. With 7 seconds remaining, the Bulls were up 86-85 and it's Knicks ball. Pippen ended up fouling Hubert Davis, who made both free throws. it was a heartbreaking loss for the Bulls. And even though they did end up evening the series at 3-3, the Knicks in the deciding Game 7 out-rebounded the Bulls 52-44 behind Oakley's 20 rebounds and Ewing's 17 rebounds to an 87-77 victory. Here's what Bulls owner Jerry Reinsdorf had to say. "To this day, that was my favorite team. We should have gone to the finals if it weren't for a horrible call in New York. Scottie was clearly the leader of that team. He stepped up, and he was the man." And Scottie Pippen reflected, "It was one of my greatest seasons. It wasn't quite as successful of a season as we wanted, but I enjoyed the team and I loved my teammates. I enjoyed my growth and development as a player, as well as the leadership role that I had. It was the first time for me to be the clear-cut star. I didn't always have the chance to rise up when Michael was there, especially in my first 3 years. But by him stepping away a little bit, it gave me a little room to grow. And when he came back, it gave me an opportunity to stand beside him instead of standing below him. There is no way the Bulls would have been able to overachieve the way that they did that season if not for Scottie Pippen. And despite their shortcomings in the playoffs, Pippen proved he was capable of leading his own team and solidified his position as a force in the league. It actually would have been interesting to see where Pippen would rank all time in people's minds if the Bulls actually four-peated that season, and if this would in any way diminish Jordan's legacy. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and once again, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. I'm out.